Yeah, so it was back just after the first lockdown. Haven't seen my friends in a long time, same way as anyone else. So we were really excited to reunite and celebrate a friend's birthday. We'd gone to a restaurant like normal, had lunch, had a couple of glasses of wine. I wasn't feeling very well. My friends thought maybe I'd eaten something a bit dodgy. So we went to the bathroom. One of us came out, the other one didn't. That was me.
And how do you know that your drink was spiked and you weren't just being unwell?
I think it's the bodily reaction you have when you've ingested GHB or a drug similar. That's very different to anything I've ever experienced and anything that I've ever experienced while drinking.
So explain to us, what was that bodily experience then? What was it like? What are your memories? You remember going into that bathroom?
How scary was it?
I mean, I have no memory apart from walking upstairs into the bathroom and waking up in A&E. I think the way your body reacts after you've been given a drug is very, very different to, had you just been drunk. If you've just been drunk, you're a bit tipsy, might be a little bit sick.
But you're not in control of your body now, are you?
No, nothing. And I very rarely, I don't think I've ever had a night where I don't remember what's happened to me.
Yeah. And, of course, that's the big fear, isn't it? I mean, you were with friends. It was, luckily, cold light of day, but heaven forbid that had happened in a situation where you were isolated or, couldn't get to safety. Then it would have been a horrible outcome.
So what was the outcome? What happened to you? Did someone then pick you up and bring you to hospital? Did medics attend? What happened?
So, actually, my best friend is a doctor. She was there with me. She was actually the person that sat there at the table and said, she's not been back for 10 minutes, and went back to find me. All of my friends phoned paramedics. 2 male paramedics arrived and they just said that I needed to go home and sleep it off. But because my friend's a doctor, she said, no, there's no way I'm letting you take her home. You need to take her to the hospital.
Gosh.
So what was the big danger when you went to hospital? What were they diagnosing? What were they seeing?
I mean, I personally didn't get any medical records. I phoned back to try and get some kind of record of what happened to me, but I wasn't given any. I wasn't discharged of any papers, so I don't actually know what happened.
Did you have any suspicion? I mean, obviously then, in the post-mortem afterwards, you sit there and you go, what happened? Who would have tampered with my drink? That always went through your mind. Do you feel that you gave yourself any answers?
So I think initially I didn't think... I actually didn't know what happened, and my first response wasn't I'd been spiked. It was my friends that were like, look, we saw what we saw. We've never seen you like this before, and my friends are in industries where they've seen spiking happen on multiple occasions. So, they knew what to look out for. And, the next day I had really severe anxiety. It was more like, from what I've seen, research is similar to what you'd experience on a come down from drugs, and that's nothing I've ever experienced before, like really severe anxiety. And trying to find advice or somebody that I can speak to about it was really, really difficult.
So but you weren't able to do the detective work, were you, and say it came from this person?
Well, so because of COVID restrictions, you weren't allowed to socialise and mingle between tables because it was a strict group of 6. There was a particular group of people that were hanging around our table and were told to move on multiple occasions by staff. Yeah. They were sat at our table at one point with our drinks. After that, it was gone.
Cameras inside, anything like that?
We were sat outside, so very, very hard to catch by camera.
Yeah.
And do you feel anger towards the venue? I mean, do you think that they should be doing more to make sure these sorts of things happen? It's very hard to police, isn't it?
It is very, very hard to police, and I do sympathise with, with the police with that. I don't blame the venue. I don't think it's for them something they've experienced before. With restaurants, it's not really something that you hear as common as you do with bars.
But it's interesting, Sharon, that you say that, because there is this move now that they're going to say they're going to hold venues to account on this. And I think, as with anything, if you're told you've got to be on this, you've got to be more aware of this, I mean, I think that can only be a good thing, that they will employ people to mingle or staff to be more aware of what is going around. And then, therefore, people who are doing this may think twice or 3 times before. And, I always think, what is the motive? What is the motive of this at the end of the day? Because, if it's to be sexually predatory with someone, I'm sure you were no use to someone collapsed in the bathroom and whatever. You think, what is their motive? Is it just pure evilness?
I think from my personal experience, it was for sexual predatory.
You do?
Yeah, that's what I genuinely do believe. But I think, from all the people that have reached out and spoken to me about their experience, it's been for multiple of different reasons. Sometimes it's because they don't want to participate in recreational drugs. Their friends do it to them to, make them seem fun. Sometimes it's for the purposes of theft and causing serious harm to somebody else. So there's a multitude of different reasons.
Multitude of things.
Sharon, how has this affected you when you go out now? I mean, presumably you're very protective of your drinks. I mean, do you still suffer with a bit of anxiety around all of this?
I think now, because of, like, obviously post Love Island, I think I'm in a very fortunate situation where I do go out, it's usually invite only, or there's lots of security around, or people watching you in general. So I don't feel as worried now. But I think, you know, between that period and going onto the show, I didn't go to any clubs. I very rarely went out. You know, if I did, if I left my drink for more than a split second, it would be poured away straight away.
What is your advice to anyone, you know, going out, socialising, from your bitter experience? Can you pass anything on to people and say, look, here's what I would say?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm very cautious about going down a route of, you know, like people should cover their drinks and things like that because, you know, as a young woman, you hear it constantly all the time. But I think for me, the key part of my case is that my friends were so aware of who I am as a person and were aware that I'd gone. You know, I've been in experiences and situations where as a young person, if your friend goes off, you're like, oh, they'll be fine. They'll come back. Yeah. You don't know that. So I think for me, always be aware of your surroundings, always be aware of the people you're with and make sure that nobody disappears and goes off, because I think that, for me, played a key part in my recovery.
Well, thank goodness for your best friend. That's all I take away from this, as well as, you know, all the advice you're giving. But she sounds like she saved your life.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm thankful for that.
Awful story, Sharon. Glad you're well. This is we're talking to Sharon Gafka here because venues with a bad track record on spiking, government are saying you've got to improve this or you risk having your licence revoked.